Explaining the OG Gotei 13, spoilers ahead. Head Captain Yamamoto. Yamamoto wields the Shikai Ryujin Jaka, which releases immensely powerful flames that reduce everything to ashes. His Bankai, Zanka no Tachi, takes this further, concentrating all its fire into his blade, making it hot enough to erase anything it touches. It has four forms. East, Kyokujitsujin, a strike that incinerates everything in contact with the tip of the blade. West, Zanjitsu Gokui. His body is engulfed in heat reaching 15 million degrees, making him untouchable. South, Kaka Jumanokushi Daisojin, revives and commands the burnt corpses of his enemies. North, Tenchi Kaijin, a single slash that completely annihilates the target. Soifun is the captain of the 2nd Division and commander of the Stealth Force, specializing in speed, assassination, and stealth combat. Her Shikai, Suzumabachi, is a stinger-like blade attached to her finger. When it strikes an opponent, it leaves a mark. If she hits the same spot again, the target dies instantly. Her Bankai, Jakuho Raikaben, is a massive, rocket-like gauntlet that launches a devastating explosive attack. Though incredibly powerful, she dislikes using it as it contradicts her stealth-based fighting style. Soifun also possesses an advanced version of Shunko. Her refined form, Shunko, Muguruma takes on a wind-based nature, vastly enhancing her speed and attack power. Gin Ichimaru, former captain of the 3rd Division. His Shikai, Shinso. At release, Gin's blade extends at high speed, stabbing through opponents from a distance. Though it appears simple, its speed and precision make it extremely lethal. His Bankai, Kamishini no Yari, can extend up to 13 kilometers in an instant and retract just as fast, making it nearly impossible to react to. But the true ability allows the blade to release a deadly poison that breaks down cells at a molecular level, killing the target from the inside. Unohana is the captain of the 4th Division and the original Kenpachi. She is the primary healer of the 13 squads. Her Shikai, Minazuki, is a massive flying manta ray-like creature that can swallow and heal injured allies inside its body. Her Bankai, by the same name, turns her blade into a blood-like liquid, coating the battlefield and melting everything it touches. It enhances her regenerative abilities, allowing her to fight endlessly while overwhelming her opponent with relentless attacks. Sosuke Aizen is the former captain of the 5th Squad and a major antagonist of the show. He possesses the largest amount of spiritual energy amongst all of the captains. His Shikai, Kyoka Suigetsu, controls all 5 senses, making targets perceive false realities. Once affected, victims can never detect when they are under its influence again. It is impossible to resist unless one avoids seeing the initial release. His Bankai was never revealed. Later in the show, Aizen fused with the Hogyoku to become even more powerful and immortal to any cause. Byakuya Kuchiki, the captain of the 6th Division, is a noble warrior and a master of the Kido arts. His Shikai, Senbanzakura, disperses into thousands of tiny blades resembling cherry blossom petals, which can slice through anything with pinpoint precision. These blades can be controlled remotely, allowing Byakuya to attack from any distance. His Bankai is Senbanzakura Kageyoshi. The blades of Senbanzakura form massive, towering structures of swords that can annihilate entire battlefields. Byakuya controls them with absolute precision, shaping the petals into different forms, such as defensive shields, offensive strikes, or sweeping waves of destruction. Kageyoshi enhances the already deadly offensive capabilities of Senbanzakura, amplifying the power and speed of its attacks. His Bankai has different modes of attack. Senkei creates a barrier of 1,000 blades, lined up around him and his enemy. He can attack the enemy with each blade, or shoot every one of the blade at the enemy. A newer form of his Bankai, Shuke, involves a further refinement of Byakuya's petals. Instead of spreading out into thousands of blades, Byakuya can condense the petals into a single, extremely powerful, and controlled force. This form allows him to focus all the destructive energy into a single, devastating point. Sajin Komamura, the captain of the 7th Division, is part of the Wolfman clan, forcing him to be a canine-like human. His Shikai, Tenken, allows him to summon any part of an enormous samurai spirit as part of his normal attacks. His Bankai, Kokujo Tenken Myo-O, summons the full physical body of the enormous samurai spirit that follows all of his fighting movements. However, the ultimate drawback of his Bankai is that he sustains whatever damage done to the samurai spirit. During the 1,000-year Blood War, Komamura gave up his heart to the Wolfman clan elder, which allowed him to use the secret Jinka technique, giving him a full human form, making him and his Bankai immortal for a period of time, before he turns fully into an actual wolf. Shunsui Kyoraku, the captain of the 8th Division, and later the captain commander of the Gotei 13, has a set of tricky and unique Zanpakuto powers. Shunsui's Shikai is a dual-wielding Zanpakuto. He carries 2 swords, each with its own unique abilities. The first, Kaiten, represents playfulness and illusion, while the second, Kyokotsu, represents death and destruction. His Shikai abilities revolve around a game of chance, where the nature of the fight changes depending on which of the 2 swords Shunsui chooses to draw. The outcome of the battle is randomly affected, giving him an unpredictable advantage over his opponents. When Kaiten is drawn, the game becomes playful and interactive, making it difficult for the opponent to prepare for Shunsui's unpredictable moves. When Kyokotsu is drawn, the game takes a more dangerous turn. It can manifest in dangerous attacks that disorient and incapacitate opponents. His Bankai, Katen Kyokotsu, Karamatsu Shinju, summons a huge, shadowy pine tree that appears as an extension of his original powers. There are 4 acts to his Bankai. Act 1. Sharing of wounds. Both Shunsui and his opponent share any wounds inflicted during this act, preventing either from being fatally injured. Act 2. The Pillow of Shame. The opponent's body becomes covered in bleeding spots, resembling a highly infectious disease. Act 3. The Abyss of Despair. Both combatants are trapped in a seemingly endless ocean of despair, draining their spiritual energy. Final act. Shunsui creates a thread that wraps around the opponent's throat, allowing him to instantly behead them with a pull. Kaname Tosen is the former captain of the 9th Division and a follower of Aizen. His Shikai, Suzumushi, releases a high-pitched wave capable of overloading the opponent's senses, which causes them to be stunned and paralyzed. His Bankai is Suzumushi Tsuishiki Enma Kurogi. Huge rings emerge from his blade, which forms a barrier around him and his opponent, like a domain expansion. The barrier removes all form of light and sound from the opponent, leaving them blind and deaf. Toshiro Hitsugaya, the captain of the 10th Division and the prodigy child, is one of the youngest and most talented captains in the Gotei 13. His Shikai, Hyorin-maru, is basically ice manipulation. He can freeze moisture in the air, creating ice constructs that he can use to attack or defend. His signature move, Ryusenka, allows him to launch blades of ice at enemies with high speed and cutting power. Hyorin-maru's ice dragon can be summoned to attack his enemies, creating a devastating offensive weapon that can freeze opponents in their tracks. His Bankai, Daigaren Hyorin-maru, is a massive enhancement of his Shikai abilities. In this form, Hitsugaya grows 2 giant ice wings with 3 giant petals behind. The most significant aspect of Daigaren Hyorin-maru is his ability to manipulate the temperature of the surrounding environment. Toshiro can drastically drop the temperature, causing ice to form instantly. His ultimate attack, Senin Hyoro summons a giant ice wall around his opponent, trapping them in an ice prison that can freeze them completely. This attack is capable of immobilizing even the most powerful foes. In Thousand-Year Blood War, when his Bankai petals all withered, it finally matured and evolved into an even more powerful Bankai. This Bankai allows the freezing of any matters that touches him, even freezing the function and concept of the powers. Kenpachi Zaraki is the captain of the 11th Division in the Gotei 13. His Shikai, Nozarashi, is a massive cleaving sword that allows him to deliver devastating blows with immense force. The blade is enormous and capable of cutting through virtually anything with ease. Nozarashi's energy waves also extend when Kenpachi swings it, increasing the range and allowing him to strike opponents at a distance, causing catastrophic damage in its wake. His Bankai has no name. Unlike most captains, Kenpachi's Bankai is never officially revealed in the series, and much about it remains unknown. However, it is suggested that his Bankai would only increase the ferocity and destructive potential of his fighting style. Mayuri Kurotsuchi, the captain of the 12th Division and the head of the Shinigami Research and Development Division, is a scientific genius and one of the most unpredictable captains in the Gotei 13. His Shikai, Ashisogi Jizo, transforms into a grotesque blade with a trident-shaped tip and an eerie baby-like face on the hilt. A single cut from Ashisogi Jizo injects a potent poison into the victim's body, paralyzing their nervous system while keeping them fully conscious. His Bankai, Konjiki Ashisogi Jizo, transforms his Shikai into a gigantic, grotesque, caterpillar-like entity with a monstrous baby's face and a venomous aura. Konjiki Ashisogi Jizo is able to emit a deadly poison that spreads across the battlefield. The poison is so potent that it can kill most opponents instantly upon exposure. His Bankai is also equipped with hundreds of sharp blades under its neck, which it uses when ramming through enemies. In the Thousand-Year Blood War, Mayuri modified his Bankai to work more efficiently. When released, instead of a caterpillar-like creature, the Shikai transform into a giant, grotesque purple monster that is able to give birth to a baby Ashisogi Jizo that has customizable adaptive abilities to counter the conditions of the battle. Apart from his Zanpakuto abilities, his adaptive skills and intellect helps him create weapons, potions, and modifications to his body to greatly increase his chances of winning during battles. Jushiro Ukitake is the captain of the 13th Division in the Gotei 13. His Zanpakuto, Sogyo no Kotawari, is unique in that it has two blades, symbolizing the dual nature of its abilities. His Shikai, upon release, transforms into two separate swords that Ukitake can control with great precision. These blades each possess unique abilities, making Ukitake's Shikai a highly versatile tool. The first sword is capable of absorbing the enemy's energy attacks, which is linked to the second sword. The second sword redirects the energy attack and shoots it back at the opponent,